Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me, it's the first time you're seeing this face. Hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's what's going to be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in and continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my weekly wrap up. This is week 15, and this is from April 9th through April 15th and all my reading shenanigans in between. And I've got some shit to fucking talk about. So without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talking some books. So for my diehards out there, yes, I got a new thermos. I decided to treat myself. I will put the Etsy shop that I got this in the down box below so you can go check her out. But it is a dark romance, smutty romance reader thermos. I'm very, very happy about it. It reads Talk Dirty to Me and Spread Those Pages. And then the other side says Smut Slut. I don't watch porn. I read it. Because it's the truth, people. It's the fucking truth. And then we've got some nice pages from some smutty romance novels. And then we got like a chick right here. I don't know if you can really see her. Nice little profile action. But yeah, I wanted to get a new thermos. I thought it was time for a new one. You're still gonna be seeing the fuck off I'm reading one. Don't get me wrong. It's my OG, it's my original, but it was time for something new. So, first reading shenanigan of the video. Woohoo, cool. I don't know which phrase I like better, but I really like Talk Dirty to Me because I really like being talked dirty to. I love dirty talk books. I do. Too bad I don't have any to talk about today. But what I do have to talk about is this. The first one I have is Joey by J.A. Huss. Looks like this. This was an audiobook, and this is the second installment from the Bossy Brothers series. I gave this a 2.5 stars. On Goodreads, it is a 3-star because it does not allow for half stars, but actually I gave this 2.5. This is an MMFM romance with voyeurism and exhibitionism. We have dubious consent in it, and we do feature a polyamorous foursome relationship. If you are not familiar with polyamory is, it is the multiple loving, intentional, and intimate relationships at the same time. It's a type of open or non-monogamous relationship that follows certain guidelines, and it specifically refers to people who have multiple romantic relationships at the same time. And in this case, we do feature that with our foursome. We also feature a fake fiance trope. We have a child custody suit. We also have some triggers for human trafficking, drugs, war profiteering, money laundering, and straight up fucking lying. Yeah, there's some fun stuff in this one. So summary is that this is a direct sequel from Jessie, which is the first installment to the Bossy Brothers series, which I believe I actually gave, I want to say I either gave a 3.5 or a 4-star. I had a really good time with that one. But this is a direct sequel to it. And this follows Joey Boston, who is the middle brother of the Boston boys. And he's got two really, really close friends, Wald and Huck. They've been friends since college, and they are more than just best friends. They're very, very familiar with each other intimately, physically, and emotionally, and mentally. We also feature Brooke Alder, who claims to be a professional liar trying to find her way because her whole life has been a lie. She's been doing nothing but lying, so she has no idea who she is, and that's where we meet her at. She's trying to redefine who she is and figure out where the fuck does she go. Joey finds out that he has a daughter. She actually calls him. He's fully aware that he already has a daughter, but he walked away from her because the child's mother wanted nothing to do with him. And he finds out that the daughter is still around. She's still active and knows who he is. And she calls him to ask where her mother is. And this starts our chain events. He tries to go get his daughter back, and they say, basically, you're not really fit. You need to figure something out. So his attorneys advise him to get a long-term girlfriend, a house, and basically get his shit to fucking together. And that is how Brooke gets brought into the picture. She is kind of picked as the fake fiance because she can lie to anybody and make it believable. And they start to form this team to get Joey's daughter Maisie back. And then in the process, she discovers a family that she never really realized that she had. And we develop this really unique and really interesting romance between Joey, Brooke, and Waldo and Huck. And that's where our story really kicks off. What worked in this book, the continuity from the previous installment, it picks up right where it left off. We get to see Jesse and Emma again, and I was really nice to see them in action again because I loved Emma. I thought she was a badass. I had a really good time with her. So it was really nice to revisit them again. All the continuity was there. The same total madness and fuckery in the first book was there, definitely. The polyamorous relationship concept was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. I don't read a lot of polyamory books, so it was really nice to experience that. And it was an interesting dynamic used for developing these characters, because Brooke, as I said earlier, is trying to find who she is. She claims to be a professional liar. She doesn't know who she is. So she's trying to find her way. And Joey is kind of the same way. He just knows that he's a Boston. But other than that, he just kind of been going through his life. So to have these two kind of mirror images of each other find each other and utilize that bond to help develop who they are, along with Huck and Wald, who have very clear-cut ideas who the fuck they are and what they're fucking into and how things go. Having all four dynamics and personalities working together in this relationship was really, really fun. I had a good time with the relationship aspect of it. I had zero issues with that. It was a good time. The fucked up factor was elevated in this one. In the first installment, there was, at the very end, this really weird cloak and dagger element that got brought into play, and I thought it was completely useless at the time, because you could have taken it out and still had a great story with Jesse. You could not take the cloak and dagger out of this one, because that was one of the main focal points. We have Joey trying to go back and get his daughter, but that opens up a can of worms for this cloak and dagger money profiteering thing going on, which we still have no really fucking idea what's really going on. By the way, you still don't really have a clear-cut idea. You have a little bit more of a footing of what's going on, but it's still not entirely laid out. So that was actually really cool to see more of that and find out why it's such a viable trait in this book, and why it was actually an important plot line, because in the first book, it really wasn't. It really wasn't anything. But this one, it definitely carried some major weight to it and allowed for a lot of dramatic moments in the story that our couple, the whole foursome, had to deal with, other than just trying to get Maisie back, which is linked into it and tied into it as well, which was kind of cool. I really enjoyed the side characters of Huck and Wald in comparison to Joey and Brooke. I actually preferred Huck and Wald because they were more straightforward. They had an idea. They had a clear point of view of what the fuck was going on and who they were as characters. They did have arcs and they did grow, but I still had a pretty good idea of who they were before they started growing. Compared to Joey and Brooke, they were just kind of floundering around most of the time. And Huck and Wald were definitely the anchors to their kind of floating around in space in the lost at sea kind of moments. And I really, really enjoyed them. They were very brutally honest characters, and Joey and Brooke were not. They were liars. So having this lying component counterbalanced with this ultimate brutal truth moment, really, really enjoyed that. Had a good time with it. Definitely related to them more than anybody in the book, and I had a good time with it. And the last thing that really worked in this book was the sex scenes. They were fucking dope. I loved them. They were awesome, and they came out of nowhere. Like, they're taking some pictures, and then all of a sudden all four of them are banging together. You're like, what? How the fuck? How does this even happen? Okay. It was a great scene, though. Great fucking scene. It was fun. And I had a really good grasp of where everybody's legs, arms, and appendages were, and whose mouth what appendages were in. Because there is definitely... This is MMFM, so that is male on male, female on male, and male on female. So they all were interlinked. It wasn't just like, these two are getting on over here, and these two over here, just having the same... No, they were all interconnected, like, stacking on top of each other. It was fucking dope. All the sex scenes were dope. I had zero issues with any of the fucking sex scenes in this book. They were pretty spot on. I liked it. Had a good time with them. What didn't work? I did not like the heroine. I didn't like Brooke. I thought she lacked strength in anything worthwhile, and maybe is the reason is because she comes off as a liar. She literally admits that she's a professional liar, and I can't fucking stand liars. I can't. I have zero respect. I have zero anything for somebody who blatantly claims they're a liar. And then on top of that, she's not very fucking good at it because Joey called her. Joey called it out on her right at the get-go. in the start of the book, she's trying to find herself, so she's kind of lying her way to get an actual full-time job because she's basically a con woman. Essentially, she's been raised to be a con artist her entire life. And she has no grasp of like any actual real work experience. So she lies on her resume, but all of the interviews that she's gone through, they all call her out on her bullshit. They all call her out. And then she finally decides to apply for the Brightberry Beach Company, which Emma DeMoss from the previous book runs, the makeup empire. So she could just sell cosmetics on it independently. And she's like, this is something I can actually do. I can convince people to buy makeup. I can do this. And in theory, her skill set would work for that. So she goes for an interview and actually gets put in the wrong section of interviews. And that's how she gets involved with Joey, Huck, and Wald. But when she walks in there, they think she's a model applying for an acting gig, or an actress applying for an acting gig. And she has no fucking idea. So she just goes to town and starts lying that she's a model. And Joey calls her fucking out. Everybody has called this bitch out. She never gets away with any of her fucking lies. Every single one of them has called her out. So how are you a fucking professional liar? You kind of suck at your job, dude. You suck at it. So maybe just stop. I didn't like her. I didn't like her. And I just, And at the very end of the book, we get this point where she is supposed to be coming up with this grand save-all plan to kind of end this cloak and dagger routine and be able to help get Maisie back. And we don't even get to see it, which I believe we'll end up seeing in the next book. But it might have been a redeeming factor for her, but it wasn't. Besides the sex scenes, I didn't give a fuck about this bitch. She could have been gone. Because she served no absolute purpose. Wald and Huck had the shit, had the friendship, had the emotion, had the sex, and had all that shit fucking covered. I didn't need this bitch. I didn't fucking need her. I didn't. She could have gone away and I wouldn't have cared. Would have been great. I definitely lacked the chemistry between the parties. And the reason I feel that it lacked the chemistry is because I've read books about fake dating and fake fiancés. I get that and how it starts to develop. I never saw the real connection ever develop because it was all based off of crap. Literally all their memories, lies. Every single one of them. And there was this constant force of, oh, at least we have a real one now. You have 4 fucking real memories. That does not make a lifetime, okay? It didn't really compute and it didn't fucking work. And so the chemistry between Brooke and the 3 guys just wasn't there. The 3 guys, chemistry, fucking on point. I loved it. They could have used their real shit and just thrown Brooke into it if they really wanted to, instead of creating all this fake bullshit. And they didn't. So it just, her whole in the relationship, the chemistry was not there for me with her. And it was just too much fake and not enough real. And what they had that was real was not strong enough to carry over and to hide the fake. If that makes any sense. Joey's character did have promise, but it didn't follow through. When it came to, he found out that his daughter's called and she says, "Where's mommy?" And he's just like, he does a stand-up thing. He goes back and tries to get her. He made a decision and he followed through with it. But that's literally the only decision he makes and follows through with it. Everything else, he shows indecisive nature on. He gets ramrodded. He gets walked the fuck all over by his friends and Brooke. He has like no backbone, but he's had one in the beginning and then just like poof, disappears. And I'm like, really, dude? You got nothing. Why do I give a fuck about you? Why am I rooting for you? I'm not. I was rooting for Waldo and Huck. I was rooting for them the entire book because I liked them. They had, conviction. They had backbone. They were running the show and Joey was just kind of along for the fucking ride, but I'm supposed to give a crap about him? He's not doing anything any worthwhile except sitting there being a mopey Marlowe or a mopey whatever, negative Nancy. That's the expression. He's being a negative Nancy and I'm just like, get fucked, dude. Seriously. And he does. Well, but his sex scenes were great. I give him that. He got really good sex scenes. But even then, he wasn't even fucking in charge. Walt orchestrated all that shit. All of it. He's like, he's not going to do it unless I tell him to do it. You have to do it. Come on, Joey. Just play along. You can do it. he's gonna make you fuck me. Okay, what? What the fuck has happened? He just lacked any stamina and staying power. And when he tried to be, when he tried, it failed so miserably that he gave up over and over and over and over again. He just kept giving up, and it was just annoying. The initial plot of getting the daughter, that was the initial plot. I was like, okay, I can go for this. And then it was like dropped in place of this cloak and dagger thing. And I'm like, what? So we're just going to put the kid on the back burner? What? That's dumb. That was dumb. Give me something else. Don't bring a child into it and involve them, and then just put them on the fucking side burner. Like, that annoyed me a lot. And there we get to meet Johnny again. Johnny's the eldest of the Boston brothers. And in the first book, the continuity with him did not carry over. Johnny in the first book had no idea why all these people are giving him money. Has no fucking idea whatsoever. Nothing. I just show up and they give me money. But when Brooke comes to him with this grandiose idea of how to deal with this cloak and dagger thing, all of a sudden he knows everything about what the fuck is going on. What? So you have known the entire fucking time, and you're purposely keeping your brothers out of it and destroying their lives. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. Nice. But that conversation he has with Brooke just didn't really jive with me either, because in both books, Jesse and Joey, they build up Johnny to be this scary as fuck dude. I mean, angry, scary, will fuck you up, all this kind of shit. And here walks in Brooke, who he already knows is a professional liar. He doesn't give a shit about her either. And all of a sudden, he turns over and lays down and says, yes, let's do your plan. Let's go have a beer. What? Huh? It just, little things like that start to add up, and you're just kind of like, no. And although the sex was fucking great, it was not strong enough to carry this book. But it was strong enough to give it a 2.5. The spice rating on this book was a 3 chili peppers. That was a good one. We had multiple group scenes. Actually, every sex scene is a group sex scene, whether it is with one party watching the other group or two parties watching the group, whether they're getting on over here and then eventually joining in, or they're all together. There was no just individual sex scenes. They were all together, which I really, really enjoyed. So we got a lot of group sex, which was great. Loved it. The first scene definitely set up the positions of the players. In it, we have Brooke, who's definitely the submissive of the group. She kind of just does what she's told and goes where she's told and doesn't really think much about it. She might voice it when she's not in the scene, but again, no conviction. She just goes with it. And you have Joey, who is kind of a switch. He's a dominant to her, but to anybody else, he is completely just like, tell me what to fucking do. And then you've got Wald, who's definitely the dominant one in the relationship. He's the one calling the shots, the one making the plans, one making the deals, and definitely the one that's in Joey's ear saying, just do it. You've got this. Just do it. Believe in yourself. You got it. And then you've got Huck, who likes to watch majority of the time and then hop in. He's the voyeur. He's the one that really likes to watch the whole scene unfold and then pick the piece that he needs to be to make the scene perfect. So I definitely liked their setup, and then every other group scene after that, you saw some variation of their role, but it wasn't the exact same. So you got to see a different submissive side of Brooke, and you got to see Joey be the dominant versus the sub. You got to see Wald watch for a while and then join in. You saw the setup, but you definitely saw the main components of the people and just different facets of it, which I really enjoyed. This book offers double penetration with the same orifice on Brooke, and I was not expecting that at all. Oh my God. I was listening to this and Jesus Christ. When that happened, that scene was so fucking dope. I have heard of double penetration, but I have never seen a book where they use the same orifice. And so the two men can feel themselves inside the vaginal cavity as they're fucking the girl. And that was fucking brilliant. Oh my, I had to stop it for a minute and be like, I have to imagine this. Hold on. I legitimately have to imagine what that would fucking feel like. Holy shit. Pain, ecstasy, pleasure, the whole 9 yards. Like, fuck, that scene was dope. And yeah. That was your half star, right? There was that one scene because it was done so fucking well. Oh my God. It was great. Oh, that was fantastic. Ouch, but damn is exactly what I wrote on my notes. Ouch, but damn. Oh, I loved it. It was a good good time. Now all the sex scenes were group scenes, but we did see emotional scenes, like some making out and kissing, between just the smaller couples within, and we got to see those all kind of mixed in together. And you definitely got to see the connection with the guys and Joey for sure. Those connections were definitely on point. I couldn't really see it being built with Brooke. I couldn't see anything with her. Like she could have been anybody and it would have been fine. Truth be told, it didn't have to be her the way I was getting the impression of the book. She just wasn't strong enough for me. But that was definitely a good time for the sex scenes, for sure. But it was only a 2.5 on the storyline. But I am planning on finishing the series because I kind of want to see what she does with Johnny. I like J.A. Huss writing. This is the third book I've read from her. And this is the only low score that I've given her so far. So I'm hoping maybe it was just Joey because he was an indecisive fuck. And I don't like liars. So that's probably tinging my score on it. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with that. So the next book I read was Mo Jones' Dark Tides. I was in the ARC team for this, and it looks like this, and I gave this a 4.5 stars. There is a full book review out on it, and I'll link it up here for you guys. You can go check it out. This is the first installment, what will be a new quartet to the Apothic Waters series, told from multiple POVs, and is a gothic romance, reverse harem, why choose? And there is a hefty trigger page on this, so please go check that out before reading it. A quick summary, we follow Shiloh St. Clair, who's about to turn 18, and three men, Sparrow Dixon, Malik Carrera, and Dion Quinn. Shiloh hears about a game through the grapevine. It's the game that no one talks about, but everyone seems to know about. And she gets invited to it later on that evening, and she partakes in it. And after signing up for it, agreeing to it, she gets picked up in a baller-ass car, gets dropped off at a house, and then we get a dropped black scene. And the next morning she wakes up, finds out that she was not chosen for the game in a very weird, creepy fucking way. And that's how we get introduced to Sparrow. And Sparrow. Yeah, he's a good time. We find out in a very weird, creepy way that she's not picked for the game. And she goes home, but that's when the real game really begins. There's a lot of stuff that worked in this, so please go check out that review. I gave it 4.5 stars, but just a quick thing. I go into full in-depth of all of these. The formatting worked fantastic. The suspense in the story was on point. The revelations, Mo Jones does her revelation tactic of the balancing and then giving you something here, but it really has nothing to do with this storyline. It has something to do with this storyline down here that you haven't even reached yet. She did it flawlessly. It was on point. A constant state of what the fuck is going on. That's classic Mo Jones. And sex scenes were fucking dope, as usual. There were things that didn't work in the book as well. Again, I go into full in-depth of all of it in that review. It's very reminiscent of EKC or Elite Kings Club. So if you've read that series, you're going to see a lot of similarities, a lot more than I'm comfortable with. And it needed more time with the characters for the revelations to really have the punch that I know they're supposed to. The spice rating for this one was 3 chili peppers. Graphic sexual content. We have dominant language and submissive behavior. We've got some group scenes. Yay. And Mo Jones does emphasize her fear and arousal combo. She brings it out and she does it spot on and it's excellent. Again, go check out that review. It'll be linked in the corner and in the down box below, so you guys go check it out. Hey guys, I'm back. My battery died. Sorry. The next book I completed was Butterfly and Atlas by Lucian W. Bane. It looks like this. I did a full book review on this as well, and I will link it up in the counter here and in the down box below, so you can go and check that out as well. I go in full in-depth on everything I'm about to talk about, so go check that out. It's a fun one. I gave this 4 stars. This is the first installment to the Royal Bastards MC Newark, New Jersey chapter. This is actually a sub-series of a bigger series, the Royal Bastards MC, which was started by Crimson Sin a few years ago. But this series only follows the Newark, New Jersey set. We have a crap ton of triggers, crap ton. Multiple personality disorder, body integrity, identity disorder, cetophilia, veracophilia, captor-captive, forced proximity, grumpy sunshine, golden retriever, graphic sexual content, murder, body scarification, and religious themes. And a very, very unique reverse harem wide shoes component in the story. And I say unique reverse harem because our story follows 5 heroes that are all embedded into the same character of Augustine. So Augustine has 5 personalities, including his own, and then possibly a 6th one as it develops in this story. And we follow them as they traverse their life after meeting Butterfly. Butterfly is our heroine, and she is a flawed, scarred beauty, and she's the granddaughter of a rival MC that catches them performing an act that their MC had signed them to do. She saw too much, so they're like, well, we can't really fucking send you home, so I guess you come with us. There you go. And she has this ability to rid people of demons as God talks to her. That's actually why she was there. She was there to help the minors that these men that our heroes killed had abducted, but we never found the children. And when she comes back to the house, she witnesses the purge that Augustine puts his personalities through as he believes that they're all possessed by demons. So this ties her. She thinks, oh, I can help them. I can do this. And this starts off this chain of reaction of releasing secrets, demons, monsters, and a very, very spicy romance that we get going on. Again, I go into full in depth of everything I'm about to talk about in that review, so go check it out. A few things that worked in it though. This MC romance does not follow SOA, which is Sons of Anarchy, which I fucking adore. Thank you, that's awesome. The unique reverse harem component was fantastic. We got all of the normal things of reverse harem that we love, but it was all compacted into a single individual. So during the sex scenes, all we had to worry about was 1 male body and 1 female body. And it was fantastic because I knew where everything was. It was great. Had a great time with it. Bane does a really good job of separating the personalities out and giving them their very clear characteristics. So during conversations, which this is a very dialogue-driven book, which I do really, really appreciate, you're not lost and you're not confused. He starts off by delineating with italicized font when they're talking inside their heads and talking to each other. He makes you aware of who is speaking to who, and after a while, you start to learn these characters very, very easily, and you are able to pick them out. And if there's an instance where you really don't know, it's because our heroine doesn't even know, and he straight up has her ask, who the fuck am I talking to? So you're very, very aware of what is going on at all times. It's not very confusing. It sounds like a very confusing concept, but it's handled really, really well. Our characters, we have a nice selection of variety of characters, a nice little smorgasbord for any type of girl. We've got Atlas, who's our friend, an older brother. He's a switch. He can go both. He can either be dominant or submissive, just kind of whatever she needs. We have Harlow, who is like our golden retriever. He's our young one. He's eager. He's kind of our simp king. He just wants to make everybody happy and he wants to be loved and all that jazz. We have Pain for our Kingster girl out there. She can relate to him. He's up for a good time. As long as it causes pain to either him or her, he's down for it. Bring it the fuck on. We have Augustine, who is actually the main vessel. He is the body, and he's our challenge. He's the broken, he's the fractured, he's the one for the girls that like to fix things and put things back together. And then we have my personal favorite, Colt. Colt is the intelligent, dominant alpha that every girl wants to submit to, and every brat wants to piss off just to see what he's gonna do. And he was my favorite. He was one of the most fully realized characters in the book, and I had a great fucking time with him. Another thing that worked really well, the sex scenes, spot on. This fucker can write a sex scene. They're fantastic. This thing actually got 4 on the chili pepper scale. Yeah, 4 on the chili pepper scale. So definitely a spicy one, and there's a lot of good times in it. A lot of good stuff. There were some things that didn't work, and again, I go into in-depth in that review. This is a motorcycle romance, but it very much lacks the MC references. It's got very generic, stereotypical ones, but nothing really unique to MC. So you just got the kind of, you know, normal stuff you would see, cuts, old ladies, some jargon, and a motorcycle, and they only ride the bike once. So, yeah. I was not a fan of Butterfly as a character. I didn't really like her. I also didn't like her name. I have a thing with names, and I tend to not like the female in reverse harems, probably because I'm a jealous bitch, but I didn't really find any redeeming qualities in her. I found that she was all over the place. She lacked conviction and backbone. Her heart was in the right place for what she was trying to do for the guys, trying to be whatever they needed to be to kind of understand their own autonomy because of multiple plot lines. One of the plot lines is that they are overriding Augustine, who is in control, and now they have their own kind of autonomy, and so trying to be there to help them work through that. I thought her heart was in the right place, but it wasn't executed the right way because it looked like she was just kind of playing favorites, because she didn't realize the fact that they could still traverse and still cross over each other, and they fucking did. So she lacked taking that into account, and it just didn't really work well for me as a character. This is Atlas, and this is Butterfly and Atlas, so I went into this thinking this was going to be Butterfly and Atlas story, and I found that Atlas got lost a lot, and I kind of feel like he got kind of the raw end of the deal. Like, he straight up got friend-zoned by this bitch, and I didn't like it. It was not cool. So I'm hoping that that will change in further installments, because this series is the 5th installment just released or is dropping soon. So hopefully some of these things get fully realized. But yeah, Atlas kind of got the raw end of the deal in his own book. Because Colt was definitely the standout character for me in this installment, is for sure. And this thing needed more time to work out everything that was thrown at us. There's a lot of information given, a lot of awesome looking plot points, and everything is hit, but nothing is hit strong enough to really have that staying power that I needed to really carry it to the next level, except Colt. Colt was a storyline that I'm like, I'm stuck with this. This is it. Like, everything can go away. This is the guy. But I mean, I counted 5 big plot points going through. There's a lot of balls in the air, and it needed more time to flesh some of those out, but it is a beginning of a series, so hopefully those will get expounded on. And I go into in-depth in all of that stuff in my review, so do go check that out. Again, for chili peppers on this one, we had some really good, we had a great masturbatory scene, which was awesome, and we had a really good dominant submissive scene with Colt and Butterfly, which was dope, and I needed a fucking minute. I had a really, really good good time with that one. That was fun. That was really fun. I really, really liked that scene. It was slow, and it was intense, and it was just, it was so good. But we do see his range. We see slow and intense. We see fast and dirty, and we see some very carnal ones. The chemistry was not really on point. That was one of the plot points that got introduced, but it just wasn't fleshed out enough for me. So the chemistry and the emotional part was not there, but the actual physicality of these sex scenes was awesome, and I had a great fucking time with it. The next book I started and I am still working through is Lesson in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This was my Red Witch and Bitchin' book club, and this is a historical fiction. Also, it's women's literary fiction, standalone, and we feature what I have seen so far, and about halfway through, rape, misogyny, and very, very common prejudicial views against women during the late 50s and early 60s. All views that were commonly held during that time frame, so it's being used correctly in its historical context, but it will piss you the fuck off. Holy shit. Oh my God. It was all my book club would talk about, is how pissed off that they were about this thing. I was like, well, that's kind of how it fucking was. So I just want to make sure you guys were aware of it. But I'm only about halfway through, so I don't really want to go into what I think works and what doesn't work, but that is what is happened so far. We follow our lead character of Elizabeth Zott. She's a chemist, and so far she is, she's brilliant, but no one seems to give a shit because she's a female. And that's pretty much the gist of the book right now. There's a lot of stuff that happens that kind of emphasizes that main idea, but I will have more to talk about that in my next week's wrap up when I have it finished, because this thing reads hella fast. I read all of this in like a day. So it reads really, really fast, and I'm having a great time with it. Yeah, it's pissing me off because I'm a chick and I'm just like, man, if somebody fucking said that to me, fuck you, I would deck you so fucking hard. But the way it's being utilized, it's being utilized correctly for the time period that this book is written in. So I really, really appreciate that a lot. So I'll definitely have some more to talk about this one next week in my next week wrap up. But that is all I have for you guys this week. Sorry that my battery cut out, but please go check out the Boneyard Tides review and the Butterfly and Atlas review. They are both up and running, and they will be linked in the down box below along with the cards that you saw earlier. And I will see you guys all soon for another video. And don't forget my ABCs of Love read-along live show will be this coming Saturday. We'll be going over Goddess and Heat, and Jen and Becky will be there with us. So I will see you guys all soon.